Electronics are confusing. I am not an electrical engineer, but I have built a bunch of dance pads, and so I am here to demystify the way that dance pad electronics work a little bit. Right here I've got a Teensy, and I'm just plotting the analog read values from pin 15 or pin A1. So if you connect pin 15 to 5 volts, you'll see that it's reading high. That's 1023 is the maximum voltage that it can read. And then if you take that same pin and you connect it to ground, now it'll read 0, or the reference voltage. If you were to connect that pin to both 5 volts and ground, it would short out and the Teensy would shut itself off. But if you take 5 volts to a resistor, and then you connect voltage through that resistor to the pin, it's still reading high. But then if you take this and connect it to ground, it reads low because there's more resistance between the pin and the voltage than between the pin and ground. Now I can reverse this. So now the resistor is between the pin and ground, and it's connected straight to voltage, so you can see now it's reading high voltage. So what we want for a dance pad is a way to vary that resistance between the pin and the high voltage so that we can set a threshold, and then once our voltage is over that threshold, we'll send an input to the game, either a joystick input or a keyboard press. So here I have an FSR, which is a resistor whose resistance value changes based on how much pressure is applied to it or how much you bend it. So if I put the FSR between voltage and the pin, you can see that now it's still reading all that noise, but if you press on the FSR, the resistance goes away, and now it's just reading high. But of course, this isn't great for a dance pad because now we've still got all this noise, and it's like super sensitive. If you just barely tap it, it's reading high. So what we need to do is give it a reference to ground. But of course, if you connect ground straight through voltage, the Teensy will short. So I have this resistor. This is a 1K resistor. A lot of people use 330 ohm. You can experiment, use whatever you have. It doesn't matter that much, but it will affect how sensitive your FSR is. So now, if I connect ground to the pin through this resistor, and the pin to voltage through the FSR, now it's reading low when I'm not touching the FSR, or, low-ish. It's in the single digits, but then if I bend the FSR, or if I squeeze it, now it'll read high. So you can sort of think of it as we're connecting the pin to ground through a fixed resistor and voltage through a variable resistor. And then you can step on this to make the resistance go down and give it a higher voltage reading on that pin.